Welcome back with my 40K fanatics out there. I'm DJ here at Tim's Nation, and this is just a quick reaction video because I couldn't not say something about us getting our Tomb World Canoptic units. We didn't just get one unit, we got 3 separate data sheets dropped this morning. Looked at them and flipping through it, thinking about ways to use these things all day. And I plan on doing 3 individual videos, really talking about each one of these and diving into it. More detail. So this is just kind of an initial overlapping reaction. First of all, I'm just happy to have new units. You know, it's really good to have new units add to this army. We were one of the first codexes released, and realistically, the most we saw was a detachment last Christmas, and units get removed with some of the things going into Legends. So if anything, we kind of just, the edition started, we lost things, and we never really gained anything as the edition went on. So this is the first thing that a new unit that we actually got. Other things were just like recast, like a recast of the Monolith and an update, updated Overlord kits, I believe, updated Emotech, but not really new units, no new data sheets for the army. Locust Heavies too. This was our new data sheet. So looking at it initially, it was kind of hard to see what was this going to be, because you had 2 chunky looking dog like things, 5 squiggly little floating things that we've seen as markers, and a really cool looking Geomancer that's a centipede that makes you sad because you realize, hey, we used to have centipedes. They were called Canoptic Tombstalkers and Sentinels, and those went to Legends, and I'm very sad about that. My 4 are on the shelf. So now we got the Geomancer back. Gives me hopes and prayers that maybe someone on the Games Workshop design team is actually going to bring back the Sentinel and the Stalker, and we'll see them in a standard Codex release, and I can bring mine back off the shelf. So he's got my hope up. Geomancer's got my hope up. Otherwise, though, as kill team kits go, this is a unit that was initially designed for kill team, for close range fire. This is very short range guns. Everything's very short range guns. Pretty disappointed with the Tomb Crawler and its actual gun for what I kind of feel it should be. And I'll talk about that in the other video. The Macrosites, I'm okay with the concept. I definitely think they're a little too expensive. I do like that they can attach the Geomancer, so that gives the Geomancer a cheap unit to kind of string out in the backfield. You could do it with Immortals. You could put 5 Immortals attached to him and have more durability with the 3-up save and a better gun. But the abilities that the fact that it's Canoptic, so on a Canoptic court, being able to have that 18-inch lone op strat for them is kind of nice. And I mean, they boost their own reanimation by 1, so if you don't destroy the unit, they're all pretty much all coming back. So there's that. They also have a scout move. Okay, so competing with Tomb Blades for the scout move, Tomb Blades win 100%. I'll say that hands down. But what these guys bring is the fact that since they do attach that Geomancer, they're like giving 5 extra wounds to the Geomancer. The Geomancer being able to zone out deep strike at 12 inches when he's on an objective marker can really, really mess with the game. A lot of things that we do have advantages with Necrons is being able to mess with people's battle plans with things like the Psychomancers. Now we're adding the Geomancer to the mix. He can move into an objective. Now, granted, into up-down matchups where your opponent can do it all game, and a lot of times, the Geomancer is going to want to stay on home field for the majority of the game. But when you need that, you can go and take him, send him off, and have him scout move into a nice, safe corner objective, you know, something like right over here, where you can hide behind. Let me see if I get this out of the way. Whoop, oh, of course, picked the wrong ones. By hiding in that corner back there, now your opponent, staying 1 inch off the wall, is going to have to go around, and they're going to be put 12 inches away. So that can be efficient and really mess with your opponent for too many turns in the early points of the game and score you those extra points real early. So, and then the Geomancer has some abilities to slow down movement and things like that. So I think the Geomancer is definitely the winner out of the 3. And when I go into him in more detail, you'll see why I feel that way. Next, I'd have to say, and it's tough here, but I feel like the next one is going to be the Tomb Crawlers, and last would be the Macrosites. I feel like the Macrosites have one general role, and that comes out of Canoptic Court because of the fact that they have access to the low-knob strat. And since they are a unit, well, one, they give their +1 to hit buff to Canoptic units. So there they all are. Now, there's a cadence on that we'll talk about in a minute. But since they give that buff to Canoptic units for +1 to hit, and it's only weapon skill, it's +1 weapon skill, excuse me, then everyone's there. Scarabs, spiders, all the stuff that wants that +1 weapon skill. Also, because they're Canoptic, like I said, I keep saying load up strap, load up strap, load up strap. In the matchups where my opponent has no artillery, but they have a lot of up and down, and I'm just going to leave the Geomancer back by himself on the home field, that's it, that's the way the game is, then they don't have to attach. They have an 8-inch scout move, so they can go somewhere and go hide in a wall, you know, and be that silly little unit that hides behind a wall. And again, if you don't take all 5 of them out, pretty much all of them are coming back. You have a D3 reanimation with +1. So, you know, if you leave 1, yes, you need to roll a 5 or a 6, but then all of them come back. If you leave 2, then you need to roll a 3 or 4 plus, and they all come back. So that's some neat things. Now, the one last thing, and this is where it comes in with the Tomb Crawlers. The Tomb Crawlers are 50 points, and for all intents and purposes, are just 10-point cheaper Cryptothralls. Cryptothralls give you the 4-up feel no pain for your character models in that unit, for the Cryptex in that unit, for precision aspects and things like that. But the stats, technically the Tomb Crawlers are stronger in combat because they don't fight on death, which the Cryptothralls have fight on death. But instead, they have a 4-up, or I'm sorry, they have a strength 6, AP 1 damage for 4 attacks versus the strength 5. So technically, they're stronger there, I guess. That's kind of funny. Disappointed with the guns. We'll talk about that in the video. Like 12-inch range, just not happy with it. I think there was better options, and hopefully GW sees that in the future, especially considering that, like I said, these guys are like Cryptothralls. They can attach to any unit that a Cryptech is attached to, as long as there's not already Cryptothralls there. You can't put both, so it's either or. Now, what Cryptothralls and the Tomb Crawlers do, well, the Tomb Crawlers allow them to ignore modifiers to their ballistic skill if they're shooting at a unit within 12 inches. Most of our guns are 24-inch range. They have 12 inches is where we really shine, especially with the Gauss Reapers. So being within 12 inches and shutting off modifiers for dudes who technically have a 4 to hit, unless you're running Awakened, where you get +1 there. But I mean, okay, we're ignoring the modifier to hit, to wound, and ballistic skill. Okay, cool. So that's unique, and that kind of puts them in a step above than the Cryptothralls, because we shoot with Necron warriors better than we charge. So I do like that. Or than we fight. And they're 10 points cheaper. 10 points cheaper. 10 points, 10 points. They also are Cryptech, or Canoptic units. I think I said Cryptech before, I meant Canoptic. They're Canoptic units. What that means is that our little ability that our Macrosites have that targets Canoptic units to give them +1 weapon skill, that unit can now get +1 weapon skill because they're considered a Canoptic unit. So real quick, go over this real fast, just in case you're like, well, wait a minute, but they're not. So models, there's a big difference in the game between model and unit. Whenever you're looking at abilities, you need to see, is it for the model or is it for the unit? And this is one of the times where it matters. Some abilities, per se for Canoptic units, we have a strat that gives us devastating wounds. If you target a Canoptic unit, and all Canoptic models gain dev wounds. So that's one that a unit of Necron warriors with a Cryptech attached, and it's Cryptech or Canoptic, I believe, with a Cryptech attached, you can spend the 2 CP and give that entire unit devastating wounds. But the only units that can actually gain from it are the Cryptech or Canoptic ones. Similar interaction with the Resurrection Orb. A resurrection orb on a catacomb command barge targets an infantry or mounted unit. So with the Wraiths, when you have a Technomancer attached, he is an infantry. So while the Wraiths are beast models, this is an ability that targets an infantry unit, and that unit is a combination of every single keyword in it. Fly, doesn't matter, anything. So they all have infantry. Resurrection Orb can target them. Same thing with the -1 or the +1 weapon skill, which is +1 weapon skill is actually unique because it's not +1 to hit. So you can't stack modifiers to hit into weapon skill. But if you're +1 weapon skill and you're +1 to hit, that actually can give you that bonus to your ballistic skill, whatever you want to say, where a squad of Necron warriors that gets +1 to hit when shooting at a unit on an objective marker, a la Star Shatter Arsenal, is now getting, I'm sorry, I said +1 to hit and shooting, this is fighting, is getting +1 and +1 to hit and fighting in Star Shatter Arsenal when they're going out a unit in combat. And if I'm wrong and it's only shooting, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that it's +1 to hit anytime you make an attack on a unit objective marker. So don't play Star Shatter that much, but case in point, having that +1 to hit and then increasing your weapon skill by 1 means that they're a 3-up weapon skill with +1 to hit, 2 separate interactions, giving Necron warriors 2s to hit in combat. Because, you know, we were all praying for that. We all were like, man, these Necron warriors can hit on 2s in combat. I'm going to take the whole world out. A better example that I should have probably thought of first, Awakened Dynasty, +1 to hit when you're led by a character. So +1 to hit because you're led by a character, +1 weapon skill because of the sights, you're good to go. So yeah, and we're going to double check that on the Awakened Dynasty real quick and make sure that is a +1 to hit and call that a night. Add 1 to the hit roll. Yep, add 1 to the hit roll. So there you have it. I think it's fun. I definitely think we got the better end of the deal than the Death Watch did out of this. The Death Watch did not lose their veterans, but they got a new kill team, and the new kill team, talking to Lane, he'll talk about it more, is just not good value out of it. So 3 separate units, some fun stuff to do. I'm going to try a couple things out with them, see if we can't figure out a way that makes them actually a solid pick, or if they end up being something that we need to wait for next codex. So stay tuned. Like I said, 3 videos. I'm going to talk about each one unit in detail and where I think it fits in the Necron army, where some detachments it can work into, and yeah, just give a better in-depth review because I'm definitely excited about these guys. So, all right, that's it for tonight. I'm going to bed. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.